Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Black Lives Matter discussion. Uh, Tonight, we're going to talk about healing beauty standards, and we the subject came up because personally, I was with my family for a few weeks, and a lot of triggering things from my childhood came up, and one of them was about like natural hair and the fact that I was like one of the only kids that I wanted to keep my natural hair um, instead of doing a perm, for example, as straightening it, and also a lot of it has to do with the representation in the media of what beauty is, and so I didn't really relate to what I saw on TV around me. And for the longest time, I guess I thought I was ugly because like no one really looked like me or wanted to look like me. And I think for a long time I was angry because I was like, God, why have you given me this skin color, this hair, this body? Um, and I didn't know what to do with it. And so I think it's really hard for children today to learn about real beauty, real divine beauty, especially in the Black community, because like who is gonna teach them to love their physics, like their physical body, if no one around them really like love um, our skin complexion and natural hair and yeah. So um, maybe you have some thoughts about it. I know Kalida has more like jurisdictional like knowledge about it in the US.
As I'm like looking, I'm like for a beauty standards session, I'm like looking real basic right now. But aside from that, yeah, I think what came up for me when you shared that, Eurene, is that there's been like this trend in the past like couple of years, I guess, and it's called the Crown Act, where federally it's basically supposed to limit discrimination against hair. And so for African American women, for women of color, hair has been a challenge in terms of the workplace. So whether you have dreads, whether you have an extensions, whether you have braids, whether your hair is natural, right, in terms of its curly state, its kinky state, whatever those things are, anything that is not straight, right, and just kind of the norm, people have had issues with in the workplace, meaning like employers telling women that they cannot wear their hair like that. Like, in order for you to get this job, you need to change your hair. Like very blatant and overt things like that. And so there was some legislations on a federal level to allow not to have discrimination based on hair. As a law, and it passed in one body of the government, but not the other. And so what local jurisdictions have done is they have passed it themselves. So like local cities and local states have passed the Crown Act on a state and local level. And so I actually got to witness recently, why I kind of know this much, that New Orleans, where I live, recently passed it in New Orleans. And the testimony that was given was just kind of the historical background of here. And one of the comments that I remember is like back in the slavery days, like you would have to wrap up your hair, right, in order to like be working out in the fields and like to do that. And so for so long, Black women had to cover up their hair, and not kind of let it be, if that makes sense. And so there's just a lot of history behind that discrimination. And yeah, just things like the Crown Act is helping to shift that and actually make it real. And so I was part of a group when that was happening because we were doing some legislative work. And someone in the chat said, I didn't even know that this was a thing. Like, I didn't know that this was an issue. And like now they know. And so I don't know, just it's really important kind of thing. So me personally, I've my mom relaxed my hair, meaning like straightened it when I was 5 years old. We were actually just having a conversation about it, um, in order to manage it better or what have you. And so I've grown up with straight hair. My hair's long, but very much like, oh, you have like long hair for a Black girl, right? Or you have, is that your real hair? Or is that all yours? And it's like, yeah, girl, like that's mine. Like, and so it was all this like, okay, so Black girls can't have long hair? Like, is that just not a thing? And so, um, yeah, just kind of a lot of stigmas or whatever, but we're getting there.
Yeah, I think as you said, there's a lot of stigma and stereotypes around black hair, like black hair cannot grow alone,
Mm-hmm.
black hair is unmanageable, and just hard to style or things like that. And black hair is unprofessional.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's time we get past the stigma of that society has taught us. And this is not something that is easy. Like it's, as you said, it's based on 2 centuries at least of history and discrimination around hair and beauty. And I know for a fact that I'm still learning how to truly um, appreciate what I have. And so I think it takes like patience and faith to actually accept today being a Black woman and accept that um, our divine femininity and like just be present with our beauty and just, yeah. I don't really know like what I wanted to say at first, but yeah, that's my thoughts.
I don't
Anyone
know.
else?
I I don't know, guys, if you ever watched that video that went viral on Facebook. Um, a mother was telling her daughter, like, how, look how beautiful you are, and the daughter was crying, like, I'm ugly, mom, I'm ugly. I don't know if you ever watched that video.
I know what you're talking about. That was
Yeah,
actually, I think that was her niece. The girl said, oh my God, what did she say? She was doing her hair. She's fixing her hair. She's like, oh my God, I look ugly. She's like, don't you ever say that. You're a very beautiful little girl. And she started crying. And then these random people made like Instagrams for this girl, got like over 100K followers. People like really like this thing went really viral. So yeah, I know what you're talking about, Renato.
yeah, was one of the most beautiful videos I ever watched in my life. I got really, really, really emotional because I had a friend in school. We were very, very close at that time. She had the same problem with her hair because, at that time, 90s was even more difficult. You know, there was a lot of pressure for Black women to make their hair straight. And I remember she wouldn't accept it herself, like she would hate her hair. And I helped her to accept herself. I didn't know about this work, but it was clear that the hair was not the issue, but the feeling, because she thought that if she was like other girls, like white girls with straight hair, she would be considered beautiful by the other boys, beautiful, like she would, let's say, compete with the white girls. So we had this issue in school. And years later, she changed her hair. I don't know what happened to her, but she started to grow, to let her hair grow, and it became like, bigger. And she was posting videos and things on Facebook about self-acceptance, and she looks so much happier. She looks so, I would say, divine, because when you accept yourself, you show your divinity to everyone. This is very inspiring. Yeah, that's what I wanted to share with you. Just remembered.
Yeah, I think a lot of it too comes to just like not having that access in even beauty schools and teaching them how to work with ethnic hair. That was something that I had the issue growing up with. I had thick, thick hair, thick, kinky hair. And my mom is Hispanic and Native, and my biological father is African American. So my hair is thick and coarse, and there's a lot of it. And growing up, it was very, very different than anyone that I went to school with. And I would wear, like bandanas to help like keep it tamed. And I remember being pulled out of class one day. I probably was in like fourth grade, and I wore different colored bandanas. I had some that were like that had patterns on them, and I remember being told, "You can't wear these in school anymore." And I was like, "Why? I've been wearing them since I like started kindergarten to like help maintain my hair." And because it was a bandana, it was gang related. And because I was African
Patterns.
American, they didn't want me associated with gangs. And so I no longer could wear bandanas like that.
These patterns.
Yeah. What was that?
These patterns. Bandana.
Oh, you're breaking out.
These bandana patterns.
Let me see. Yes. There you go. Yes. So that, and then I had other ones that were like blue, and they had like a rainbow across the front, like just different kinds of patterns. Like any bandana that I could find that was pretty, I would wear. And one day, after like wearing them for years to school, I got pulled out of class and I was told I could not wear them anymore. And that was really hard for me, because that was one of the things that I was really picked on at school, was my hair. And luckily, God blessed me. There was an African American woman who worked with my dad, and she could see that I was really struggling with my hair and like what to do with it. And my parents had no idea, and so she took me in and really helped me learn how to take care of my hair and the oils that I needed for my hair. Because my parents always said I needed creams, and with Kenesha's hair, you need oils and just stuff like that. And my hair was relaxed, like Kalita's, for a long period of time. And it wasn't until I started this journey where the upset came up of I was wearing extensions, because for some reason, like my hair would not grow past my shoulders. And the same thing Kalita mentioned, like people were like, "Is that your real hair?" Because most girls' hair doesn't grow past their shoulders if they're black. And so I was wearing extensions, and I only felt that I was beautiful unless I looked that way. And I remember feeling like I really desire to be my authentic self, and my authentic self has natural curly kinky hair. And so I made the choice to cut all of my hair, and so like my sides were shaved, and I had this really cool looking haircut. And then all of a sudden it went from, is Kenesha gay because she cuts her hair? Like, and so to be an African American female trying to find my look, like all of a sudden I'm being questioned and judged. which was really hard at first. And I chose to work through those upsets and work through those blocks. And as soon as I did, the place that really felt the best was just my natural curly, kinky hair, and finding a product that really defined my curls. And once I really relaxed into my natural look, it seemed to be the look that I got the most compliments on, and the ones that people were like, I just love your hair, I wish my hair looked like yours. So really having to learn how to embrace my divine beauty in the way that God created me. And even today, like this is the first time I straightened my hair in months, and it looks great, but it feels a little off because I'm missing my curls, my natural kinky curls. And so, yeah, really learning how to get out there more, and maybe I'm being guided to do that, is like how to help other ethnic women take care of their hair, what products work, what you should try, and stuff like that. But it was definitely something that growing up I was always picked on for. And if my hair wasn't looking good or was frizzy, because once your hair hits the humidity, y'all, it starts to frizz and go different directions, it would create like this insecurity within me, just because I felt like I wasn't put together or I didn't look beautiful because my hair was doing its own thing.
I love what you had to say, Kanisha, and I think like what you're coming, I think you're kind of like helping us come to a solution here as to like the problem that's at hand, which is, and I guess I would propose the question to the group, like, is it your hair and the outside that makes you beautiful, or is it what is within that makes you beautiful? And how you are perceived, like, does that even matter how you are perceived, right? And I think we've talked about this too within Twin Flame Ascension School and like Purpose Class within Jeffrey Shaleia's work, where they talk about divine beauty and what is divine beauty, right? And like the purpose of beauty is different for everybody, and it has nothing to do with your external look. Society may have like created some standards for whatever reasons, but we don't have to, like, I think the solution is to not buy into those standards, but to rather accept ourselves for who we are, right? It was like the Kanisha, for you, it was like the minute that you accepted your hair and loved your hair and found the things that were perfect for your hair, and it just claimed your authenticity and followed the God in where your beauty was bringing you, where your divine body, where your divine hair was bringing you. That's what created others to be able to look at you and say, wow, Kanisha's beautiful, right? And like, I think I don't know, I feel like that's the solution, is like having your own inner confidence and like doing what, like following the God within, figuring out what your divine beauty is the key here. I think that's the next step. And I'm not sure if anyone else wants to talk a little bit deeper about what that brings up for you, and maybe your experience of that. But I feel like that's the solution we're talking about. Self-acceptance, yeah.
Yeah, I had to like really, because there was a minute where I was like angry with God. I was like, why did you create me this way? Same thing that Eurene was talking about, was like this, like, I feel ugly, I don't understand, and trying to really grasp why I looked the way that I looked. And it wasn't until I understand that God, that every creation he makes is perfect. And so I had to start to really see myself in the way that God saw me.
Amen.
And as soon as I really did that, I was just like, oh wow, like that's one of the best things about me, is that there is no one who looks like me, and there's no one who looks like Eurene, and there's no one who looks like Marley, and there's no one who looks like Ontario. Like, I had to like realize that, like, he made us in his image, and he saw me as absolutely beautiful, and the only thing that's keeping me from seeing myself as absolutely beautiful are the people around me who probably don't actually feel beautiful within themselves. Why would I take that on?
Amen.
Yeah, and so as soon as I started doing that and really just really loving myself there, I was leaving my house without makeup on. I didn't give two rats who saw me or who saw me. Like, I'm gonna be like,
Two
you're gonna get my
rats.
personality. I don't even care. Like, I don't care. Like,
Yes.
my personality. You're gonna get my smile. And if you don't find that as beautiful, that is not my fault. And you have an upset within yourself, and I'm not gonna take that on. And yeah, as soon as I started doing that, like, it brought up that like true power within myself, that like I didn't have to be done up to look and feel beautiful. And I find myself complimenting myself even more now when I have absolutely no makeup on, and when I just roll out of bed and probably look in the roughest, and I'm like, girl, you look good. Like, really, that's what this work does, is really remind you of your true power and your perfection. And having to teach, that's one of the things that God's really guiding me to, is like when I come across young girls with ethnic hair, ethnicity, like to just remind them how beautiful they are. And that was something I was telling my twin, because both of his girls are Black. I was like, you got to remind them, like you have to remind them how beautiful they naturally are, and that the outside world doesn't define their beauty. And no one can tell them whether or not they're beautiful or not, because they are God's creation.
Amen. Yeah, and so like, yeah, what I hear from what you're saying is that like it's all cultivated from within. So like anybody who's watching this video, you know, whether you're Black, white, mixed, whatever, you know, all you have to do is just love and accept yourself and see yourself as beautiful, and not worry about what someone else looks like, and just see your brother and sister in the way that God would see them, because God wouldn't see ugly people. Right. And so when you see somebody and you say, oh, they're not attractive, or they're not good looking, or you look at yourself and you say, oh, that's not good looking. Find that part of you that's not feeling like that piece is good looking, and love yourself in that place. Accept yourself in that place. Right. Maybe it's pointing to something deeper. And I think that's like the solution as to how, you know, we can I don't know, experience within a community feeling confident and accepted, is by doing it within first. Yeah, so I choose to be confident, and I choose to have confidence in myself and love myself the way that I am.
When Kenisha was talking, I pulled all cards, and there was this: hide with someone on a hospital bed. And so I think it's really telling, like, if you hide your true self, like true authentic self is like something that has come up a few times, like today for me. And like, if you hide your true self, like, it's not God, it's not divine. And so this is in some way a sickness that you must heal. And you heal it with the acceptance of yourself. And also, I think something key is to drop the judgment of yourself, and not to be judgmental in general, not with yourself, not with others. And like, it brings so much relief and freedom to be able to express yourself further. And I think it's really key to it's. I think it works well with like self-acceptance in this case.
Yeah, absolutely. Like really being able to just accept your way of expression and the way that you desire to express yourself, and not worrying about what anyone else thinks. I've like done different things with my hair, braids, all over the place, like anything really. Like I just love to express myself through my hair. And I've just really had to remember that I do it for me and what feels good for me. Because I've had a lot of people be like, oh my gosh, why don't you keep your hair in braids? That looks great. And I'm like, yeah, because it's meant for my ethnicity. That's why it looks great. However, it also, like things with our hair, is needed to it needs to be taken care of differently. Like there are just things about ourselves that have to be catered to uniquely. And I know with like probably like Marley's hair, like Marley probably has to wash it like every few days. With my hair, they tell me only to wash it like once a week because of the way that my hair is structured and the oils that it needs in it. And so really being able to understand that like you're catering to yourself uniquely, and that that is okay. Like you don't have to look a certain way or be a certain way to be seen as beautiful. And the card that I had pulled was satisfaction. It says, you let the energy of love guide you to self-approval so that others no longer define who you are, which is perfect.
I love what you just said, Kanisha, because I was kind of having this feeling around kind of appreciating my hair in its natural state. So I've had my hair relaxed since 5 years old, but for like over the last decade, I went natural, if you will. And so I grew out the relaxer and found out the natural state of my hair for like the first time over 10 years ago. And not until like I made the decision to like give my hair TLC was I able to really love its look in its natural states. Because even though I had grew out the relaxer, I still was getting my hair straightened. I was just like, oh, I don't need a relaxer anymore. Like my hair is manageable where I can just straighten it and it'll stay straight, whatever. But then when I decided to like just keep it in its natural state and really give my hair TLC, so I call moments of giving my hair like TLC. And so I was like, I need to give my hair TLC right now, because that's what feels good. But I love what you just said, which was however you want to have your hair that feels good to you, to me, is where it needs to be, because I actually feel good when my hair is straight. It's easier to manage. And you know it can look well all the time, right? But I do have moments where I like it curly, and I do have moments where I want to put in extensions that I can't, that has to be longer because my hair's longer. And so there's just kind of these moments, and that just really feels good to just do what feels good to me, rather than going into any type of stigma of like, well, why is your hair straight when that's not what it's supposed to be? It's like, but I like it straight. I'm confused. Or, why don't you wear it curly? Because you're supposed to wear your natural look. It's like, well, I can wear it curly, but I don't feel like doing that right now. Like, so that actually feels like really good.
Yeah, it's so important, like to give yourself what you need. And if it's a new haircut, it's okay. Like if it's a new style, it's okay. And I feel it's good to like play with style and have fun, and it feels refreshing, honestly. Like it's good and it's a way to take care of yourself. It just shouldn't be used as a way to judge yourself or others, and also not as a way to hide yourself. But if you feel good about it, like that's the that's the thing. Like it's okay.
Yeah, I know probably one of the biggest upsets I had to work around, and we talked about it in like the workforce, was that like the look of like unmanageable, or like I remember one time like someone just being like, I don't know, it just like it's like a dirty look, like you just don't look clean and put together. And I remember being like, I look dirty, like now I feel dirty now that you like brought that up. And I remember being really emotional about it. And so I had to really feel into that and realize that that was something that I was holding on since like childhood, because like people were like, why does your hair like that? Or like they like want to touch it, but they're not sure if they want to touch it. Like like just moments like that of really having to go into my inner child and really just love her there and remind her that like that is God's creation. Like I think that's one of the things that's really helped me grounded to who I am is just remembering that I am God's creation, and God doesn't, all of his creations are perfect. There's no imperfection in his creations. And as I really grounded into that, like I could just feel that love come from within and feel like all of that negativity just melt away, because I was able to see the truth of who I am. And I also understood that there was solutions to help maintain it, like with like my hair, like sometimes the curls like look really dry, and for a long time people were like, well, why don't you wear your hair curly? And it's just because I couldn't find a product to help it look moisturized and defined, and throughout the day it would start to look like a tumbleweed. Like I didn't feel good in this hair. It didn't match the style that I was trying to fit in that day, or whatever it was. Like I just felt bad to not have my hair feeling good and looking good, and because it looked dry. And so once I found a product, which it took y'all 26 years to find the right product for my hair, it was like, wow, this feels good, this looks good, my hair looks healthy, it's happy. And it actually started growing. And so to be able to like really like ask God, like that was something I had to do, was like, what do I need to do to really find something to help the hair that you gave me, God? Like, this is your hair, so like help me figure this out. And he did, which was really awesome. And really being able to just like find something that felt good, worked for my budget, and made my hair look amazing. So really just like having to go to God about those upsets within yourself, and like ask him, like, what is it that you want me to do to love this place here, to really help enhance it, or make it feel good. And I got my answer, so that was pretty cool.
I'm really loving, guys, what you are saying. You know, the discussion is just wonderful, because what we have in our hands is the beauty standards, you know, out there. So it's not compassionate to create a new standard to go against the standard, you know, like to fight or create something like a new standard. And what feels good for us is the standard for ourselves. Like you can try, you know, anything you want. You know what Khalida said as well, you know, like if you feel comfortable, if you feel happy with straight hair, it's perfect for you. It's perfection for you. If you want to change, you know, tomorrow you can change. You can try new products. You can try, you know, anything. And the healing always starts within, with self, you know, acceptance, knowing that you are going to love yourself anyway. And no one can define you, you know, like you don't need to compare to anyone else. And yeah, and for me, what is really, just asking myself, what does beauty really mean? Is it how we look like, or is the energy that we put out, you know, that we show to other people? And as we do this work, as we heal ourselves here with love, as we cultivate, you know, with ourselves, we started to see other people as souls, not as they how look like. And for me, beauty is when someone shines their light. It's like someone who loves themselves so much, they accept themselves. You know, you can see, you can feel their light, you know, shining, and people just say, "Wow, that person looks so powerful," because they are powerful. You know, when they shine these lights, you just look at that person. Wow.
Yeah. The next card I pulled was kindness. You are a humanitarian made of love, and you are able to share that energy with others. And I found that the moment that I really started just being really kind to myself, and really really choosing to like, I had to look at myself as like, one of the things that I wanted or avoided for a long time is I didn't want a little girl. Like, I don't know how to explain this, but there was just like part of me that was like, I don't want a little girl, because growing up, it was really hard for me with being Black and my hair and all of these things. And so I had to like mother myself in that way and really nurture myself in the way that I desired to be nurtured. And that would have been like telling myself like, your hair is perfect, this is who you are, this is how God created you. Like, there are other people who have hair just like you, so you're not alone. You're not completely different. And really started to be kind to myself in that way and loving myself in that way. And as soon as I started doing that, things started shifting, really loving myself in that place, and choosing to not judge myself the way that other people were judging me. And that was, I had nannied a little girl too, who is half African American, and her hair is so thick, guys. It's like it's so thick. There's so much hair. And the poor girl, like, I love her so much. And so one of the things that she had an upset was the way that certain people would do her hair, because there wasn't a kindness or a gentleness to it because of the course of her hair. And there's a certain way to approach her hair and how to comb through it and love it. And so that was something that I had to even teach her parents, like, this is how we take care of her hair. This is the best way to brush through it. This is the best product for her hair. And as soon as they were able to make that shift and like see like, oh, we need to be kind to her in this way and love her in this way, instead of trying to do her hair the way I would do my hair, it even shifted the dynamic between her and her parents, and like her feeling safe with them, like even touching her hair and doing her hair in that way. And so I had to heal through that first to be able to help her heal through it and help her parents heal through it. And noticing that like there's just this level of kindness that we have to have within ourselves and towards ourselves. And like you said, seeing everyone as a soul instead of seeing them as like how they show it physically in the world.
It reminds me of something, the fact that for a long time, like Black parents have kind of used force to manage like the hair of the children, because this is how they were taught to manage the hair, to detangle them with force. And I think sometimes it would hurt, like oftentimes it would hurt, and we were told that this was natural because our hair was like really hard to do. And I've seen that this is not like something from yesterday, because I've seen that on paintings from the different like phases of slavery of African American, and I'm like, wow, this is kind of harsh, like to discover when I was a teen that you didn't need to put force to detangle your own hair. It was just kind of mind blowing. And I had a lot of conflict with my mom um, because of the way she learned to manage hair and the way I was learning to take care of myself. And I was like, am I in the wrong? Like, but I knew in my heart that it was not normal to be hurt when you were like styling your hair. And I think that participated in the anger that I kind of felt with God, because I was like, am I going to hurt to have to hurt to live a normal life and just like do something as simple as detangling my hair? And that is a relief to know that like with the good knowledge, research and care and kindness, you can like take care of your hair, and it's way easier than what what our mothers taught us, basically.
Yeah, I really relate to that. Although like my hair is different, it's still like not white and it's not black. It's just like this entanglement of the two, and I'm
Right.
still figuring out what's going on. But like my younger sister, she, like, I saw her growing up and like my stepdad was white and a man at that, and you know, my mom's having him do my sister's hair, and it was just like they were like going to war sometimes. And she was like screaming, and I'm just like, what the hell's going on over there? Like,
Mhm.
but yeah, and I think it also has to do with like brushes and stuff. Like, for me, I can't even brush my hair when it's dry. Like, I have to use a wet brush, and like if I'm like trying to smooth it down, I need like a soft brush. I know y'all are like, you know what a soft brush is, right? Like the paddle one. Yeah, like to like, you know, get it to get the frizz down and some oil and stuff. But yeah, like, you know, my mom, she obviously had no clue how to deal with our hair. And like, I really remember like it was just a battle with my sister and my parents.
Right. I feel like all of this is also pointing to this like what I keep like asking God, like, what does all of this mean? Sorry, do you have something, Desh?
Yeah, Anastasia.
Go, you say your thing.
Have you ever experienced hot combs?
You know what? They used it on her hair, but not on my hair. But like, you can't touch that. That shit will burn you on your head. But no, like I know what you're talking about, but go ahead.
No,
What's
but
your suggestion?
You've experienced brushes, but I'm saying, what is your experience with hot combs?
I've seen my sister, like they used it on her, but I never used it on my hair. So I have zero experience, but I know what you're talking about.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. What are you suggesting?
About brushes, but you didn't say hot combs. I was waiting for you to say hot combs. You didn't say.
Oh, right.
Debbie, just so you know, like hot comb is like my mama. Like no one on here probably has experienced a hot comb situation.
Okay. I went.
Madam C.J. Walker, right, the first Black woman millionaire.
Oh my God, I know
this thing called the relaxer.
I read about her.
Hair relaxer.
It kind of threw out the hot comb. And you know what also became the hot comb now is the flat iron, and everybody uses that.
Hell yeah.
We got 9 babies here, so I thought some people would have experienced that.
I've seen it.
I've had someone use a hot comb on my hair. I don't recommend it because I did get burned, and so it's not. Right. Yeah, it's so it's not something that I would do myself, and I would have to have like an absolute person do that. But yeah, no, I've completely resonated. I'm curious on what Ray had to say. There was something I also wanted to touch base after he speaks here.
Sure, yeah. So like what I'm hearing as I'm like, you know, because I mean, like I've had a lot of the same experience as you guys, even though like I'm not Black. Like, you know, I myself have had issues of, you know, workplace environment, with both with my hair and my physical body and things like that, right? So I can resonate on some level. And you know, we were getting to the solution of, okay, well, it's about acceptance and things like that. And then I was like kind of asking God, like, well, what's the bigger picture here? What's the lesson here that we're learning? And for me, it's kind of like we're not all the same. Mm-hmm. Like we can be one and not all be the same, right? Because oneness doesn't mean that we're all you know, all Kanisha. We're all Kanisha now. Okay, now we're all Ray. We're Ray, Kanisha, Anastasia, Deji, Kalida, Renato, you know, Urine. We're everybody, right? And that together is oneness, right? And so like, because I think that we try so hard to connect by being the same rather than connect as a one, as unique divine beings, knowing that the thing that makes us all connected is the divine, is God. And so it's about connecting through that rather than trying to resonate with a celebrity or another person by wearing your hair there the same way as them, or wearing their lipstick. It's resonating through God and finding who you are, rather than trying to be the same, which I think is what we find is the problem in society right now. So yeah, I'm gonna pass to Kanisha. What did you have to say?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you said that, because that was something that I think one of the biggest things that I took from just like my hair as a child and things that were said was it's so unmanageable. And so I took on the pattern of thinking that I was unmanageable for the longest time. I thought I was difficult and I was hard just because of the things that I heard about my hair, and it's attached to me. It grows from my scalp. So there's something about me that felt really unmanageable and untamable. And really having to be aware of the way that we speak about certain things and the way that we address characteristics within oneself, especially like with children, and really like being aware. Like I love as we have this conversation that like hopefully it like brings awareness to parents on like how they speak to their children about certain characteristics and their hair and all that stuff that comes with it, because sometimes we can take it a little differently. And even though they weren't telling me I was unmanageable because my hair is attached to me, I felt as a being I was unmanageable, and that was something that I had to work through and heal, and really love myself in that place, and know that God didn't create me as difficult or unmanageable or hard. And so really getting clear on some of those places, because I'm feeling like there are people who feel that way, not realizing that it has something to do with a characteristic that they're working through, or that they felt wasn't accepted growing up.
I love what you said about like as parents like teaching that, because that's really important so that we don't like take on those ideas about ourselves. And it actually reminds me of this book that we had when I was younger that my parents got us because they didn't know what the heck they were doing, but it was related to hair, and it was called I'm Happy Being Nappy, and it like talked about that.
I was actually going to bring that up. There's a movie on Netflix called Nappily Ever After, and she has this massive upset about her hair, and she ends up like shaving it. But if y'all don't watch, like y'all need to watch it. It's a great movie, a great lesson. I love it. It's on Netflix.
Aww.
Is it like kid friendly?
It's like it's like a rom-com kind of. Can help me out? It's like a rom-com, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Like
Okay.
she's all based about her, or it's because of her mother. Her mother was like, "You're only beautiful when you look like this, and your hair needs to be straight, and you can't get in the pool."
Right.
Like that was something that like, growing up, like, oh, you got to relax on your hairstyle. You can't get in the pool unless you have a cap on. Like just stuff like that.
I've seen this movie.
Yeah. So, but she had to like come to the realization of like her natural self and that she's beautiful just as she is, and
right.
Yeah, it's a really great movie.
Yeah. And you don't need to shave your head to know that you're beautiful, but it's coming to the realization that like nothing makes you beautiful. You're beautiful because you are, period. Right. Like that's, I think, like the thing that all of us are kind of coming to as well, is like recognizing that, there's no such thing as becoming beautiful. I think a lot of people think they have to transform into being beautiful, but like, wow, couldn't we just all see that like we are beautiful, period? Yeah.
And then also that our features or our hair or whatever, our skin tone, whatever, are all are not indicators of our beauty. They're just additions of how God made us, right? And all of that is beautiful. And so I think of the India Irie song of like, I am not my hair. And so like we're just not caught up in these physical features that that we feel define us, but rather that those features, whatever, enhance us, or whatever the situation is, so that we're not, I don't know, just really stuck on those features, and that we're more than that. The other thing I wanted to mention is this movie called Belle, since we're like throwing down movies and stuff. This is one of my favorite movies. I'm gonna go watch it again now because I've got this teaching now, but I think it's very twin flamish. It's very justice oriented in terms of kind of what ends up happening. And there's a scene where, because she's mixed, and there's a scene where another lady's helping her like detangle her hair, and she's like, you got to go from the bottom basically and start to detangle it. And so anyways, I just highly recommend the movie Belle to watch, because it just has just a lot of facets in it that would be really, really good. But yeah.
When you brought that up, you brought up India Irie, there were two songs that came up in my head. I was thinking about Formation, when B said, I like my baby hair and afros. Also, and I've been hearing a lot about I don't know, let me correct myself if I heard that right. Kanisha, you said you let people touch your hair?
No. No, there's people who try to touch my hair. And I'm just like, unless you ask my permission, okay. But there are people who have come and just came up and touched my hair just because it looks cool.
Yeah, I thought about Solange when I kept hearing, about touching hair and shit like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot, that I've never had the experience where somebody wanted to touch my hair. I remember in elementary school, my mom would say, don't let anybody touch your hair. And I'm like, I don't know that anyone's trying to touch my hair, Mom, but okay. Like, but in school, everyone like wants to play doll and like, hang out and all that stuff. And she was just like, you don't get to do that. Like, don't let anybody touch your hair. And so, but apparently it's a thing.
I remember seeing girls like in elementary school, like want to fix each other's hair, take out their barrettes and everything, like all types of craziness. But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, Kalita.
Yeah, there's definitely a boundary to be had about hair. It's true, like even my dad, like it touches my hair sometimes. I like, don't do that. Like, I'm not like, it's not a show. Like, you wouldn't touch somebody else's hair. Like, and yeah, because my mom is relaxed and has relaxed hair, and I have natural hair, and so
It's also like a cultural thing, because in the Hispanic culture, if you see a beautiful child, you're supposed to touch their head so that you don't give them what's called ojo, which is the oh gosh, I can't remember what it's called. Something eye, the evil eye. That's their culture. I'm not quite familiar with it. My mother's Hispanic, and so that's something that has been brought up to me. But in the Hispanic culture, if they come across a beautiful child, to not give them ojo, they have to touch their head and touch their hair. And so as a child, I remember my hair being touched here and there, because I had a little baby afro. I was real cute. I had a real cute afro, and I always had people who wanted to touch my hair, and people always staring at me. And so my mother was like, now you got to go touch her head because you be staring at my daughter. Like just crazy stuff like that. But I know it's a cultural thing.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yes, it is.
Sad, because like, what if kids don't get touched by their head? Are they not beautiful to those
Then
people?
they get.
But in Portugal and Brazil, people touch each other's hair. It's natural. Like, oh, I love you, and they touch each other's hair. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
I think it's really cultural.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as long as you feel comfortable with like people touching your hair. I think it's an energy as well. Like my family wants to touch my hair because it amuses them to see my natural hair. But like, for example, if my best friend wants to touch my hair, I know it's innocent. It's good. It's not related to, oh, she has natural hair, you know. So I think it depends on the situation and the energy that the person has, and that's why I was talking about boundaries. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of times it's just a curiosity, just because our hair is so different from theirs. It's always that saying, like, you want something that you don't have. And so a lot of times when I wear my hair natural and curly, people are like, I wish my hair was like yours. And I was like, yeah, my entire life, I wish my hair was like yours. But now that I've accepted who I am, I love my hair. And so, like, really helping them accept their hair and who they are. And like I said, it's just that energy of like wanting something that you think that you don't have. And really just accepting all of yourself and loving all of yourself.
Yeah, well, when you're attracted to something or someone, it's because you are seeing a part of yourself in them that you're not seeing within yourself. That's why the minute that you see those things within yourself, you like lose attraction for those people. And like that's why essentially your twin flame is made for you, because it's the one person that you'll find attractive because they are you.
Well, we are at the end of the hour. How is everyone feeling? You feel good, complete?
Yeah. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
I think we could like keep going with this topic for next week. But yeah. So thank you to everyone who is watching, and if you are watching us on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we are doing this every week, so yeah, thank you for watching the Black Lives Matter discussion. See you.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you.